Now we start the dark sequence using the brown. This is 176. You see the benefit of using that black now. You can still see it. And across the top. We want that darker at the top, remember, and not so dark here. And we'll put on the ochre back into there again in a little while. Now comes the black. Now it's the black that really does set this alight. You can see the depth there with it, and I want to just make it just a little more shading there, so it's not quite so severe a line. And then this the back. Now I want to retain some of the brown. I want to lose it altogether. And then from here, and from that point, it becomes a hard line. Now, watch this carefully because it's quite important. Once again, we want it on the top a little darker. People ask me, do you talk to yourself when you're doing your original work without videoing? I do sometimes, yeah. I find it helps to tell myself what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, just here we have a separation, like that. It's not going to be very obvious when we're finished, but it's going to be there. So we put it in. It's just a feature of the nose. And then just around here. Go on dark. That's looking good now, isn't it? And again, you see the contrast between this and this. This will have to change. You have to be careful with it. And just along the edge. That's good. Now I think that's more or less it. Now we're going back in now with the 187. Now here what we're doing now is using it sort of like a blender, but we're also going to be putting some colour on as well. I think you can probably see that working now, can you? Just that. What we're losing is some of the sparkle, we call that, which is the paper coming through. That's what we don't want. I don't mind the texture, but I don't want the sparkle to be there. Now I'm interfering with that light because I didn't want it quite so obvious now. Still there, but without it being too obvious now. Again, we're doing the same thing as we did the other way. We're using the brown, the ochre, just to fade into the brown. Now that's working very well. And again on the top there, and coming down here. You can always redo this several times if you find it necessary. I mean, I'm losing a little bit of the colour now. I'm encroaching on the black, but if that doesn't matter, I shall leave it, but if not, I can always go back in again. Now I'm quite happy with that so far. Look, it's looking good. Down here again. So that little separation area is looking good too. That's it. Oh. There isn't another medium that you can do this with. Pastel is the only one. Now it's not showing up terribly well. I just checked the screen. You're not seeing that very well. And another thing I can do is to do with contrast. But you've seen me put it in. I'm just going back in with the black there, so because I was losing it slightly. And down there I was losing it. But I assure you whilst it might not show up that much on the screen, it does show up on the original. That's good. That's nice. Now I think I'm almost tempted to leave that alone. That looks good. Now the white needs to be brought back there. So I'm going to use the white pencil. But instead of just putting a hard line, I'm going to make it look a bit more as though it's catching the texture of the nose, like that. Great. Now, just down here, there's a little bit of light hitting, so I'm just going to put a little bit of light in. Now, normally I don't do this, I put it in to start with, but that was so difficult to do to start with and to leave it. I've just decided to put it in afterwards, so I just squeezed a little bit of light in there, just a touch. See, that's just a perfect, sir. Now, we'll deal with that in a minute, but what we're going to do now is to bring some of the brown and make this not quite so much of a contrast here. I don't mind it there, I want that white to be strong there, but I don't want it down here. So we want to bring in a little bit of, this is the 176 brown that I'm using. Like that. It's almost as though this poor little chap has been smoking. Well, his nicotine stains, isn't it? But I don't think he would have done. Mouth there. Now the black on the mouth. Give ourselves like that. That's good. Good. And the brown. Now this is the 283. It's the one that can bring it. I'm going to have to come back in a little while here anyway, because I've got to put another application of white on. But I'm quite happy at the moment that I've got that looking like that. This top edge is not so easy because now it's where the white fur sort of touches and blends with the top of the nose. So I'll show you how we get over that problem. We get our grey and we kind of like strengthen a little bit behind. I don't ever mind bringing some of the colour in, so by touching the grey and then just touching the white, you interfere with, you see how much better that looks now. And when I eventually come back in with some white over here, I'll bring the white back across there and a little bit more black. I'm doing this as a straight run for you to make it easier to understand, but really when I'm working on originals and in my own time and at my own pace, I would use an awful lot more change of pencil than I'm doing here. But you'd never keep up with me if I tried that. Oh, that's good. Now a little bit of ochre just to mix in with that. And you see what we've done now, we haven't got quite so much of a hard line across there, and it's looking quite nice. So we've now got to start thinking finishing touches job, and that will be the next thing that I'm going to do. So I'm just going to put a little bit of colour back in here like this, and then we'll move on to the final stage, which I know you're all looking forward to.